National Court rejects Komo Magarima MP's application. Fire destroys Niugini Builders Property. And a mother and baby saved in a medivac operation.
This is National EMTV News with Lorraine Genia.
Good evening, great to have your company for Monday's news. The Waigani National Court has refused Komo Magarima MP Francis Potape's application to dismiss the proceedings between him and Hela Governor Anderson Agiru for the governor's seat. Potape and the Hela Provincial Assembly members held a no-confidence vote against Agiru and elected Potape as governor last December. However, Agiru took the matter to court and was reinstated in January, pending the hearing of the substantive matter.
Justice Eric Kariko refused the application on the grounds that majority of the issues raised by Potape were found to be misconceived. There were 6 issues that Potape raised to dismiss the old proceeding. However, Justice Kariko ruled that the issues are not relevant.
To dismiss the proceedings that Governor Anderson Agiru has filed. Effectively, those 4 grounds put together is that the Honorable Governor Agiru proceeded on a wrong ground or a wrong rule under the National Court rules.
The proceeding was for the court to decide on the legality of the appointment of Potape as the Hela governor by the Assembly. The matter was first heard in court in December 2015. After a number of court cases heard at the national level, the National Court Judge Justice Derek Achen reinstated Agiru.
His Honor found that that may have been the case, but His Honor said that it is in the interest of the people of Hela province that the matter proceed to trial, and therefore has dismissed Honorable Francis Potape's application.
Meanwhile, the hearing of the matter is adjourned to March 17. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
2 Papua New Guinea Defence Force officers and 2 soldiers based at the Forward Operational Base in Vanimo have been suspended over allegations of robbery. PNG DF Commander Brigadier General Gilbert Torpo is concerned that the allegation is serious and has ordered the men to be disarmed and sent to police custody. He said the 4 will be dismissed from the force if they are formally charged, arrested and found guilty. Brigadier General Torpo said he will not tolerate this type of criminal behaviour. The Waigani National Court has ordered the reinstated Correctional Services Commissioner, Michael Waipo, to prepare draft directions for a second hearing next Monday. These documents will be issued to CS Minister Jim Simitab and the other 3 defendants. Judge Colin McKyle issued the directions this morning after the state solicitor asked the courts for time to prepare necessary documents. This follows a judicial review granted in February by Judge McKyle.
Because a judicial review to evaluate the process in which Waipo was revoked as CS Commissioner was granted, lawyers will now be preparing for the trial. The time given by the National Court will allow lawyers of both parties to prepare documents that will later be submitted in court before a trial date is set for the judicial review.
The highest court on the land realized that the process and procedures which has to be followed, especially in regard to departmental acts, and in this instance, the Commissioner for CIS was not followed with.
While the matter was being heard in court, a confrontation was staged by supporters of Waipo and NAPO outside the CS headquarters in Port Moresby this morning. A similar confrontation occurred in February when Chief Inspector Bernard Napo was appointed by the National Executive Council to act as Commissioner. On Friday, Michael Waipo was reinstated as CS Commissioner by the Supreme Court, a ruling made by Judge Terence Higgins on the grounds that the process which was taken to terminate Waipo as Commissioner was not correctly followed. On the other end, Bernard Nepo denied receiving a copy of the court order and stated that he is still the acting commissioner.
And so as the appointed commissioner of Papua New Guinea Correctional Service, yes, Mr. Waipo can run to the court, but at the end of the day, I am the legitimate appointee of the Papua New Guinea Correctional Service. I will still run the department, and so ask everyone to fall in line.
After obtaining the order from the Supreme Court on Friday, according to Mr. Nepo, there are some technical areas that we need to iron out. So, as he stated, we'll put this matter to rest, and I will go back with my counselor to the registry to rectify this situation and come back and present the appropriate order appropriately.
Next Monday, when the case returns to court, Waipo's lawyers will make submissions to endorse directions that Waipo has prepared. Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
2 suspects involved in a death of a guard in Kimbe have been recaptured by police. The 2 escaped custody after being apprehended by Kimbe police over an attempted robbery in a shop last week Friday. Kimbe police got hold of the 2 with the help of the community at Buvusi. A total of 7 suspects are in custody in this murder case, which stirred tension among residents in town and the Talasea people last week. And National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching National EMTV News. Wesley Manavi, a PNG driver in Port Moresby, sustained serious injuries to his face after he was allegedly assaulted by police on Saturday. He claims he was then verbally abused by the policemen and locked up at the cell block at the Waigani police station. MTV's Eric Harupma spoke to the victim upon his release.
Wesley Manavi, 40 years old, from Goroka in the Eastern Islands province, was allegedly beaten by policemen last Saturday. While speaking to MTV News today, Manavi said the incident happened around 9 a.m. at the Waigani bus stop when a blue CRV van believed to have driven by 2 police officers in civilian hit his bus.
The mistreating wood that so to play it come bumpy me. La meeting him was police normal. So suppose who live uniform one te kam jesem beto ko car one time police car kam be sabe o police car. So normal one te kam na tubla kababi so mitin o tubla normal man. Na mi kam outside tubla to ko station na o ke mi bla ko na o ke mitin o police ba LP so mi kam outside. Na o police o sana pa lu stapet na o tubla man kam outside tubla to ke tubla paitimina first tubla paitimina mitin o normal man na mi paiti tubla. Now second and narbla kamna mi paitim na em paitim.
When they were at Waigani police station to solve the matter, the policemen punched and kicked him several times until he fell unconscious. Wesley was later detained at the police station cell block for some time, verbally abused and released in the afternoon.
So mitin o normal la tubla yet kisim inside paitim inside. Holusim inside lo cell na o tubla lokim inside lo Islam name all better also stop inside lo yan happy to lock him inside toilet section.
Meanwhile, a formal complaint from the victim is yet to be lodged with the Bodily Police Measurement Services Unit for further investigations into the matter. Eric Harupma, National EMTV News.
Opposition leader Don Pollier has offered to engage a company to design a new building to accommodate persons living with disabilities in Lae Morbe province. Mr. Pollier said the building will cater for the increase in the number of persons living with disabilities. He made the announcement when the opposition team visited Lae City last week.
The opposition team include Kikori MP Mark Mapakai, Goilala MP William Sab, and Lae MP Lojaya Koza. The 4 visited Eagle's Nest, a resident at the Salamander Street that houses persons living with disabilities. At Eagle's Nest, persons living with disabilities are trained to sew doormats, weave bilum, and produce home detergents to sell for an income.
Children of God, you will make them good work. You people who look after the disabled here, you can walk where you win and walk with me.
Kikori MP Mark Mapakai, who was impressed with such initiatives, said he is willing to fly the trainers to Kikori district to teach people living with disabilities similar skills. At the moment, Eagle's Nest receives financial support from the lay electorate through the District Support Improvement Program funds.
What we are doing here, we are very happy to share our trainers so that if you open the door in Kandep, your electorate, for your people with disabilities to become eagles like us, we can send our trainers there and empower the people of Kandep as in people of Kikori.
Polier has also challenged the government to support such programs through the ministry responsible. Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
The sit-in protest by Mount Hagen Hospital staff was effectively lifted last Friday. This follows a meeting with the Health Minister by the National Doctors Association Highlands branch. A petition was presented by NDA to Health Minister Michael Malabag in Port Moresby last week. Meanwhile, members of the NDA, including other parties, Nurses Association, community health workers and allied health workers in Mount Hagen Hospital have given 30 days notice. An investigation team from the National Health Department will be in Mount Hagen this week to conduct investigations. All major spending by the Mount Hagen Provincial Health Authority has been put on hold while investigations are underway. A report will be sent back to the Minister in 2 weeks' time for a response. The newly enacted Mount Hagen City Authority has started its operations after the appointment of its Chief Executive Officer, Leo Noki, by the National Executive Council. The authority has met with concerned stakeholders in Mount Hagen. Since the enactment of City Authority status for Ley and Mount Hagen last year, Hagen is the first to implement the concept as part of the government's economic agenda. All stakeholders, including law agents, schools, churches and non-government organisations, have been encouraged to clean up the city this Saturday.
Mount Hagen City's current state is in total disorder. Rubbish piles at bus stops, markets and on city streets. Street sellers and illegal activities have become a norm in the city. However, the new Mount Hagen City Authority under the leadership of Leo Noki is planning on addressing this, starting off with a major cleanup this weekend. In a recent news conference, Mr. Noki said the way forward is to work with residents, including tribal communities, to take ownership of the city by being responsible.
Country, we are the first long sanapim this city authority concept. Over the resource block country, strong block country, Sawai block country, all work lo bungim lo Mosby. All islands only can come up bung long one bla bung plus blow liet. Now all kata Momasa can bung long one la bung plus blow liet. All New Guinea Islands. So one time this la thing, only kirabim this la concept blow city authority.
Western Highlands Provincial Administrator Joseph Nang commended the government for this act and pledged to work with the new authority.
Members of the Parliament, or popular members of the Parliament, now all the members of the National Parliament only supporting this bill. Why only been supporting all bill, only looking for some importance from this like an authority. It's creating similar authorities, similar cities, along provinces too.
Mr. Noki said all neighboring tribes and city residents are geared up to clean the city, getting rid of all street vending, informal markets, Sunday markets, all this to stop littering and illegal activities by the public. Meanwhile, under the Mount Hagen City Authority Act 2015, the open member for Hagen Hopen will be the chairman of its board, while the Lord Mayor will be its deputy. The organizational structure for the authority is yet to be finalized. Michelle Amba, National MTV News, Mount Hagen.
And now looking at our finance news, the Kina closed at $0.3265 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.3190 US, $0.4196 Australian dollars, $0.2826 euro and 36.01 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, coffee and copra closed higher. Gold closed lower while cocoa closed the day unchanged. Crude oil closed lower, copper closed higher while palm oil closed the day unchanged. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 300.76 points higher, the ASX closed at 20.31 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 19 points higher. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Catholic schools in the country are concerned about their operations in the education sector. This follows the 11th National Catholic Principals Conference, where queries on TFF and other issues were raised. Chairman of the Catholic Principals Conference, Hilary Suwamba, says the Church's agencies have played a major role in the education sector with little help from the government.
Up to 50 principals from Catholic schools across the country attended a Catholic Principals Conference, which has attracted various concerns from the primary, secondary and vocational schools. Their concerns range from late TFF arrivals, staff welfare following high student enrollments and teachers' trainings. They are seeking the Education Department's help to look into addressing some of their issues.
With regard to training of specialist teachers, we visited Unitec and a concern was raised that funding for training of specialist teachers was abolished. And we would like to encourage the department to continue to fund so that we train more specialist teachers.
Over 100 schools and institutions in the country are Catholic coordinated, most of which fall under the government and church partnership policy, and which also receive almost all of their education funds from the government.
We take on board policies from the government and incorporate those. With regard to funding assistance, most of the assistance comes from the government.
Like all other schools, these church agencies are carrying their problems daily, yet continue to maintain a role of providing education services to PNG's young population. Colin Barila, National EMTV News, Lae.
The life of a young mum and her unborn child were saved today by a medical evacuation out of Aseki in Morobe province. Licia Elisa was airlifted from her village in remote Menyama district to Lae's Angao Hospital this morning. She and her baby are in stable condition at Angao after doctors conducted a cesarean to remove the child. The Morobe provincial government funded medical evacuation was done by a Manelos aviation chopper and a support nurse on board. Bethany Harriman filmed the evacuation and brings us this story.
It's 10 a.m. this morning when a call comes into the medivac team at Manalos from a remote village in Aseki. A young mother has had complications during labor. From word on the ground, the mother's condition is critical and they need to fly to Aseki with a nurse immediately. The chopper is refueled and the nurse prepares for the dash to Aseki, about 150 kilometers from Lae by road. The pilot, Captain Jürgen Ruh, explains that the people on the ground have notified him that they will signal the chopper by smoke and a yellow cloth. It's now a race against time to get to the location and find the hamlet where the mother is. Aseki is in the Minyamia district of the Morobe province and the people are scattered across tough terrain. The chopper is fueled and we take off. The flight takes nearly an hour. The pilot pushes several kilometers past Aseki station until we find the smoke signal and the yellow cloth. As we land, villagers bring the young mother who was in pain. She has had a breach during labor, and in her state she has become very weak. She and her baby are now part of alarming statistics reported by the United Nations. 5.5% of babies die before the age of 2 in Papua New Guinea, and nearly half of the mothers giving birth in rural areas do it without a midwife or a doctor. She She's taken on a stretcher to the chopper and placed inside. A relative also accompanies her. With takeoff, her blood pressure is taken and her vitals are recorded down whilst on the chopper. The nurse, Naomi, on board scrambles with the turbulence to slip a needle into the mother's vein to give her a drip. The young mom urgently needs to get to Angao, and the nurse on the chopper has the difficult task of getting her stable while in the sky. A little over 30 minutes and the chopper lands in Leh. And the young mom is put onto an ambulance and taken to the Angao hospital. If Alicia wasn't airlifted from Yangaku village to Leh, she and her baby would have died. It's 3 p.m. in the afternoon now, and we've been told that she and her baby are in stable condition. She has been taken into surgery to have a cesarean. The medivac program by Manalos airlifts around 147 mothers every year. That simply means that over 140 mothers are saved during labor complications. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Leh.
Despite the free health policy being implemented throughout the country, rural areas still face the slow supply of medical drugs. Telefomin District is one that will struggle to serve its people while waiting for the construction of a new health facility. Attached Medical Officer Dr. Winnie Carrier says short-term plans have been designed to address the current problems in delivering health services to the people.
Medical Officer Dr. Winnie Carrier has been attached to the Telefomin District Health Services for nearly a month now. His presence in the district is a positive move, but his day-to-day visit at the health center is challenged by many problems. Lack of facilities such as laboratories, blood services and x-ray are just some problems he is challenged with.
It's my third week now being here. There's barely nothing. All the medicines, the essential medicines, there's nothing.
The remoteness of the area also adds to the slow supply of medical drugs. Dr. Carrier says patients with serious conditions are airlifted to either Kiunga, Vanimo or Tabubil.
Basically like Panadol, Amoxicillin, these are the common drugs that we should have in a clinic or health center or hospital for that matter. There's barely nothing.
The current facility is managed by the Baptist Health Services with only 2 wards and employs only community health workers. The last medical doctor was in Telefomin in 2010.
My plans are now to get the basic things like at least get some few equipments for me to use, and then get the rapid test kits for those like malaria or HIV, or even check their blood levels, at least those basic things.
All these problems will be addressed when the new district hospital is completed, but this will be after a year or 2. Jagla Pave Jr., National EMTV News.
Turning overseas now, a car bomb killed 34 people at transport hub in the Turkish capital of Ankara on Sunday and wounded at least 125 more. Although there was no immediate claim of responsibility for the bombing, initial findings suggested the attack had been carried out by the Kurdistan Workers' Party or an affiliated militant group.
Video footage from route burning debris showering down on what appeared to be the entrance to an underpass a few hundred meters from Turkey's military headquarters, parliament and other key government institutions. State broadcaster TRT reported the bomb went off in a crowded transport hub yesterday, hitting a bus carrying about 20 people.
The car came near to us. 10 seconds later, the seats in the bus flew following explosions. A piece of metal crashed into me. There was a black car. I saw 5 people dead. I received a piece to here and to my arm.
The wounded were rushed to a hospital as police with riot shields sealed off the site for investigations to commence. 30 of those killed had died at the scene, while 4 of the others died in hospital.
It is considered that at least 1 or 2 of the 30 people who died at scene are the perpetrators of the terrorist attack.
A police source said the severed hand of one of the alleged perpetrators was found 300 meters from the blast site. The bombing appeared to be similar to a bomb attack less than a month ago and just a block away. A source told Reuters that the explosives were the same kind as those used in the previous attack, except reinforced with pellets and nails for maximum damage.
As a result of the probe that has been carried out so far, important signs and evidences has been obtained. But the organisation that carried out this attack will be unveiled after the probe ends. I believe the investigation will be concluded tomorrow and the findings will be announced.
Islamic State militants have meanwhile carried out at least 4 bomb attacks on Turkey since June 2015. Turkey's president in a statement said these attacks did not weaken their resolve in fighting terrorism, but bolstered their determination. Melissa Goviro, EMTV World News.
Massive military drills are underway as the United States and South Korea stage their largest ever exercise. But the war games are doing nothing to ease rising tensions in the Korean peninsula.
Under bright blue skies, a flotilla approaches. And with a blast of explosives, the amphibious assault begins. A mock invasion performed by U.S. and South Korean Marines. This weekend's drills are one small part of an 8-week series of joint military exercises that both countries perform annually. With more than 300,000 South Korean troops and 17,000 U.S. forces participating, South Korea says this year's drills are the biggest ever. They're taking place during a time of heightened tension on the Korean peninsula. This is an opportunity for the U.S. to reassure its South Korean ally within months of North Korea testing what it claims was a hydrogen bomb and firing a satellite into space. The U.S. argues this show of force serves as a deterrent to North Korea.
We sincerely believe in peace through strength, and it is in the strength of our alliance that we believe that we can deter and avoid war.
But North Korea calls these exercises a threat. Pyongyang claims the U.S.-South Korean drills are a precursor to a possible invasion, and it has threatened to carry out preemptive nuclear strikes in response. Of course, North Korea often makes big shows of its own war games. Just last week, the regime released images of leader Kim Jong-un observing a missile launch. This came just days after Pyongyang announced it successfully miniaturized a nuclear bomb, making it small enough to fit on top of a missile. Some South Koreans are disturbed by the saber rattling on both sides of the demilitarized zone. There is some opposition to these drills. You have several dozen demonstrators, some of whom have traveled hours to get here. They are arguing that it's better to have peace talks rather than military exercises. And as you can see, there is a substantial police presence keeping the protesters at bay. The nearby protests do not disrupt the military exercises. This, after all, is a carefully choreographed operation, part of a cycle of tension between North and South that ratchets up every year during the joint military exercises. The danger here, if one of these well-armed rivals makes a misstep or misinterprets an enemy signal, then the risk of escalation is very, very high.
Trukai Sports is up next. In the NSL, we have the match between Hekari and the Lay City Dwellers, as well as an update on the 7th PNG Games in Kimbe. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Now in football. After the 5-goal thrashing of Lay City Dwellers, Hekari United FC have now been confirmed as minor premiers for the 11th consecutive season in the Telecom National Soccer League. Ley City had appeared on track to take their maiden lead. However, a hat-trick by Tommy Semi and goals by Tutizama Tanito and Korek Upaiga ensured yet another prize for Hekari.
Prior to the 2 p.m. kickoff, hype had surrounded the status of the match, considering that these two were the best attacking sides in the competition.
Go Hekari!
Both clubs shared similarities in that they had crushing 5-0 victories apiece, with Ley City destroying PK Rapatona and Hekari victorious over Welgris by an identical margin. Hekari franchise owner John Capinato had stated on the eve of the game that Hekari were a beatable side, but quality on the pitch was a determining factor in their success over the years.
Our objective was not only to start a club, but find players and give them an opportunity. But most important thing behind is the key word of everything. I mean, any organization is discipline. Discipline not only on the field, but off the field in every walks of life. If they do that, then only they can progress, not only in football, but any other activities, maybe job or career or anything like that.
Ley City Dwellers head coach Peter Gunemba also spoke highly of his side and noted the difference between both teams in an interview before the match.
I was also happy because I think this is the first time that we put Hekari really under pressure, and they considered 11 corner kicks. We only considered only 3, and that static shows me that we had a lot of ball possession, but then our failure was to score.
However, it was a different result altogether when both sides took the pitch. A hat-trick by Hekari striker Tommy Sami, silencing more than his critics, with the visitors left dumbfounded by the result. Either side of halftime, Sami with bullets from distance and both hitting the target, leaving Ley City Dwellers keeper Ronald Warisan furious at his defense. While Hekari showed little if any weakness, it was a surprisingly poor performance by Ley City themselves that left many shaking their heads in wonder. Hekari's win means they now take out a record number of minor premierships in a row, unrivaled by any other club in any sport in Papua New Guinea. The NSL Grand Final, however, is slated for the 19th of March and will feature both sides again. Hekari undoubtedly buoyed by the win, but taking no chances, as Ley City Dwellers are still their closest rivals on the domestic front. Jeremy Mogi, National, MTV Sports.
Still on football, the 2016 OFC Champions League will take place in Auckland from the 8th to the 23rd of April. A total of 12 clubs from 8 of the OFC member associations, Fiji, New Caledonia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Tahiti and Vanuatu are taking part in the tournament dubbed Oceania's Premier International Club Competition. Not only will the winner pick up the title of regional champions, they will also go on to represent Oceania at the FIFA Club World Cup in December. 2 clubs from Papua New Guinea will take part, Hekari United FC and Ley City Dwellers. Host Organising Committee of the 2016 PNG Games say facilities will be built to standard. Deputy Chairman Daka Wagai told MTV Sports, despite challenges in financial backing and weather patterns, preparation is going smoothly. Jack Lapava Jr. with this update from Kimbe.
Building facilities of high standard is the target for the host organising committee of the 7th PNG Games in West New Britain Province. The foundation of the main stadium is currently being laid, with progress work on major sporting fields like soccer and track and field. In an interview with MTV over the weekend, the host organising committee says the facilities will be the first and of standard.
It is the first time that we will be hosting such a big event, and we are looking forward to build infrastructures that will meet the standard requirements of such competition like this.
The West New Britain Provincial Government has committed 10 million in last year's supplementary budget and 12 million kina in the 2016 budget. The national government has committed 5 million kina but is yet to be confirmed. The host organising committee says a budget of under 40 million is needed to build and host the games.
Come good with this kind of money. It will really help our budget, but we are really embarking on the Prime Minister and the National Sports Minister to see that this is a national event, that we are only playing host here.
Local company Nivani is building all the sporting facilities with close supervision.
On the other side is the racing track. So that stages needs to be finalized. We have guys from IAAF standards providing all the construction drawings.
Meanwhile, the satellite sites for the games are taking shape with momentum building in communities across the province. Jack Lepave Jr., National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break with softball in Port Moresby and the SP Hunters win over the weekend.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The Port Moresby women's softball teams are gearing up for the national championships next weekend. There will be 3 teams from Port Moresby: Port Moresby Gold, Port Moresby Black and Port Moresby White.
Port Moresby Gold is the 7-time reigning champion and is hoping for their 8th title this year. A selection panel is set up to pick players for the national championships. After 8 to 9 games during the season, players are selected depending on their performance. Women's softball president Jenny Park says the teams are made up of a good mixture of young and experienced players.
Both the young talents and the older ones that are still very competitive in the competition. It's a mixture of them. We in the team Gold being the strongest team, then we have the Blacks and the Whites, but we have a development team this time.
The Port Moresby softball season is coming to an end. After the national championships, the next step will be to prepare a squad for the PNG Games.
We have not from these championships, within the local association itself, yes. We have another team for the PNG Games, and it's mainly development that we put through. We've always done that with a mixture of the older players within the competition. So yes, we have another team which is a 14. It will come up after the championships.
Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
Bank South Pacific officially launched its 2016 school cricket program at Pari Primary School. The leading junior sport development program received 400,000 kina in sponsorship from BSP for 2016. Mike Koime reports.
The program managed by Cricket PNG is one of the most prominent junior sports programs that has reached the 4 corners of the country. This program has provided opportunity for children to be introduced to the code and encourages girls to participate as well. The BSP-sponsored School Cricket Blast is also part of the bank-sponsored cricket program. It is formatted as one-day softball inter-school cricket competition. Cricket PNG Operations Manager Guyan Loku announced these ambitious targets during the official launch of the 2016 season of the school cricket program at Pari Primary School in Port Moresby on Friday.
I'm saying here today, this is a program that we're very proud of. It's a program for all ages, for targeting elementary schools and primary schools all around the country.
The BSP Relationship Manager Corporate Banking, Karai Morea, said the program is not only about extending the reach, developing and encouraging participation of cricket, it encourages children and communities to lead active, healthy lifestyles and instills values such as respect and teamwork.
That it is one of the most popular junior sport development programs in this country.
The national body is also looking into improving the program to cater for different needs of students and teachers and volunteers through the year. Cricket associations around the world are asked to be involved. The BSP cricket program has been awarded the best overall development program in the ICC region for 4 consecutive years. Mike Koime, National EMTV Sports.
And back to the Hunters. The SP-PNG Hunters have so far registered 2 wins in their home and away matches in the Intra Super Cup 2016 season. Their recent 24-10 win over Wynnum Seagulls in Brisbane over the weekend has placed the Hunters on track. They'll play their first home game this Saturday against Tweedhead Seagulls in Port Moresby.
The Hunters are off to a flying start this season with 2 wins in the bag and looking ever so eager to win more games. Suspended skipper Adam Karave will make his return to the side after a few match suspensions.
3-game suspension ended as of yesterday, so Adam will be available for selection again. So his leadership as well as experience over the last couple of years will be a benefit for the team.
Team trainer Nigel Hukula said coach Michael Marum has been working on getting forward combinations as well as halves in line and so far has shown results. However, the debutant in the squad has stepped up to expectations.
Boa stepped up and partnered his elder brother Ase, and I think they will be working on their combination as time goes together.
Watson Boas picked up an eye injury in the match against Wynnum Seagulls that saw him left the field in the second half. However, no injury concerns from the team.
We have a couple of boys who are being looked at medical. Again, our skippers being looked at, Noel and Benjamin Hetra. So they're probably, I wouldn't call them major concerns, just medical post-game reviews which we look at, but they're being looked at closely to assess them over the next couple of days.
The Hunters will have their first home game against Tweedhead Seagulls at the National Football Stadium in Port Moresby this Saturday. Hukula said playing at home is always special for the team, especially with the support of the local fans, and the team needs to win every game as possible.
Just the crowd, the atmosphere of the crowd which really creates our home atmosphere. The crowd being vocal and getting right behind the team and supporting in every way. Not just at the stadium, but as we move around and win or lose, we'd like their support anyway. But maintaining a good home record for us would be important through the support of our crowd.
Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports ends on that note. I'll be back with the weather details for the next 24 hours after these few messages.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region, thundery showers for Port Moresby, Allotown, Popondetta, while in Daro and Kerema, rain with thunderstorms. In the Momase region, thundery showers for Ley City, a shower or two for Madang, Wewak and Vanimore. In the New Guinea Islands, a shower or two for Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, and mostly fine in Buka. And in the Highlands region, all centres expecting thundery showers. Before we go, a fire destroyed a property belonging to Niugini Builders Supplies in Ley on Saturday. The building was rented by an Asian businessman who used it as a factory to manufacture mattresses and thongs. It caught fire between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. before spreading to adjoining buildings. The cause of the fire is unknown at this time. However, Ley's Fire Station Commander Bal Kenna said investigations into the incident will determine how the fire started.
This property belongs to Niugini Builders Supplies, located along Heron and Seagull Streets in Ley. It was rented by an Asian businessman. The building was used as a factory for producing mattresses and thongs. The Asian businessman lost properties worth thousands of kina, as almost all his property was destroyed in the fire. Ley's fire service arrived at the scene and managed to put out the fire.
The development that is taking place has definitely outpaced our capacity as a firefighting unit.
This fire has now added to the already more than 20 fires occurred in Ley alone since 2012. It has also brought to light fire service lack of capacity to put out large fires. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Ley.
And that's how we end National EMTV News for tonight, Monday, the 14th of March 2016. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Lorraine Genia, present for you and good night.